the value that you hold within your business or within your package deal. What is it that I will get out of this if I purchase with you? What is the value? What does that look like? You know, the opportunity cost. If I invest this amount of dollars or this amount of time, by the time I'm done, what type of value am I going to get out of that resource?
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
That's what the customers want to know.
We always want to know, like, what is it that you can do for me? Like,
welcome, Melanated Married Millionaires in the making and friends, to another impactful episode. We're about to go through and highlight a melanated married couple, or just go through some lessons that we got. Make sure y'all tap in with the conversation. Queen, where can they go to tap in?
TheeM4Show.com.
Yes, ma'am. And make sure y'all follow us on Instagram. Queen, where can they follow us on Instagram?
TheeM4Show.
Now, if y'all haven't liked and subscribed, it would make the Queen very, very happy. If you can go ahead. Very? What should they do?
You should go ahead and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
It's free, and your first step to becoming a millionaire. Go ahead and click that button. And let's get into the show.
Let's do it.
We did some shopping last week, Sinclair. And by we, I mean I did some shopping last week.
There you go.
And I got me some nice suits. And the reason why I got me some nice suits is because I feel like to really elevate myself and our business to be $1 million business, I need to start dressing like $1 million CEO, like $1 million man. So that's why when Macy's had a 50% off sale, I didn't spend $1 million on these suits. Actually, I saw a commercial when I was in the Atlanta hotel. Macy's this weekend only 50% off suits. I sent a text immediately to Sinclair and to myself twice. Go to Macy's and get yourself some suits. So bought 3 suits, and I blessed myself with a watch. And I already started wearing the suit, and I feel great. Feel like $1 million.
You look good.
Thanks, Queen. Yeah, I appreciate it. Look like $1 million.
You do.
There it is.
$2 million.
$2 million.
You look
come
like
on
$10 million.
Well, let's get it. Why stop there? So not only is it important to look good, feel good, but I'm pretty sure there are some specific strategies that we can start implementing for Play Black Wall Street in order to increase our sales. We've already done a lot of good stuff to increase sales, specifically with our program, Leaders Innovating Tomorrow. If you're a lit scholar, lit teacher, lit principal, we appreciate you. But I think there's some more things that we can do to continue to grow our business on the business to customer side and the business to business side, maybe even the subscription side for our sales or our courses. So we had to bring in a guest, Queen. We had to bring in an expert.
The marketing queen herself.
The marketing queen herself, right? She's one of our reoccurring guests. So this episode, we do have Deja Easter, who's going to break down some sales processes and strategies. Queen, anything else before we get into it?
No, well, I'm excited.
You're excited?
We got some comments already.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the comments on the back end when we bring in Deja. If y'all got any questions, if y'all got comments, y'all got concerns, y'all got things that you want to know about sales, put it in the chat. We got you. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at TheeM4Show.com, our Instagram at TheeM4Show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. What's going on? Yes, we see you, Bottle. We are live right here. There was an episode when we were in Colombia where Bottle was going ham in the comments, Deja.
Oh, yeah?
He was like putting all types of stuff, and we were not there in real life. I'm sorry, Bottle. What's up, cousin James? Deja, welcome back to the podcast. How you feeling?
I feel good. I love y'all intro, by the way. It's dope. I would be like in the bag, and that's it.
Jam. Hey, hitting it. Love it. Oh man. But what's been the word? It's been maybe a month and a half since we had you on the podcast. So what's new in Deja Easter universe?
Yeah, so the last time we spoke, wait, should I reintroduce myself, or do we need to just
Let's
jump
do
right
it. Let's, in case they don't know fully who
in?
you
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Deja Easter. I teach business owners and entrepreneurs clarifying and profitable marketing action steps that get them unstuck. As a result, they're able to find their audience, create offers, grow their business, generate leads, reduce stress, and increase revenue. I've done global marketing support for Amazon, Xerox, brands such as Huggies, Cottonelle toilet paper, You Buy Kotex pads, tampons, Kleenex, and technology businesses, and more. I've supported multi-million-dollar corporate lead gen marketing campaigns, brand marketing communications, marketing internal business marketing development, and also have helped one of my mentees scale over 6 figures in business. So it's safe to say I know maybe a thing or two about marketing. So
Just a little bit. A little bit. All right.
Somebody said, "Yes, please do the intro because I don't know Deja yet." Well, you do now.
Yeah, you do now. And if you don't remember, Bottle, I think we did a podcast episode for New Year's. We did New Year's resolutions, and you couldn't see her, but she was speaking, and you had a lot of good comments on like, "Oh, I really like that story. I connect with that story." Boom! Now you're meeting her in the digital flesh.
Yeah.
And on a personal note, I come from a grandma and grandparents who had businesses with no degrees. Third grade education, came out here from Delaware to California, started cleaning houses for rich people, mainly predominantly Caucasians. And so myself, I started cleaning houses and mansions for doctors, lawyers, and stuff starting in middle school, because she said if you could ask for money, you could get some, you could help. So summer school, that's what I was doing, because that's how she grew up. She grew up in third grade cleaning, picking cotton, doing those things. And so she instilled that within the family. So growing up, it wasn't until I went to Cal State San Bernardino for my marketing degree, I was like, Grandma, I'm not cleaning houses no more. So this has been great, but it's not it. But it taught me so much. And even at a young age, stepping into houses that are just huge houses with like 2 staircases, big old pools, gardens, and all those things. I was like, I could get one of these.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And before we dive into the sales masterclass, can you talk more about just that exposure to just excellence and wealth at a young age? Myself too, when I was in middle school, I used to work at a farm, and we used to go and set up like pony rides, petting zoos and stuff in really nice houses in amazing backyards that can be, 4 or 5 homes right there. And I would be exposed to this wealth. Yeah, I'm walking around a pony, right, for all the rich people. But then when I have to use the bathroom or just being in the backyard, I was like, wow, one day I want to live in a house like this. So yeah, can you talk about just the importance of being exposed to that wealth at an early age and what it's done for you?
Most definitely the foundation being my grandmother, hearing her stories of how she had to walk miles and miles to get to school in the snow, living in Delaware with holes in her shoes, her socks, clothes torn off, dang near, lived in a shack, probably the size of a regular bedroom, with 12 other siblings. 4. Okay. And she was in charge of cooking the meals and all those things. And as she would walk to school, the other people who are more fortunate, Caucasian people, were on the bus going to school. So at the age, in third grade, she couldn't continue that, and so she also had to pick up the pace and start making money and income. So one of the
In
sources,
third grade?
yes, third grade,
Wow.
education stops there, right?
Yeah.
It starts to pick cotton. So she has the story of, and I also we visited the cotton gym and the fields and all the things that were taking place at the time for her. And she said she would go early in the morning because the weight of the cotton was a lot more weighted, and you were getting paid by the weight. So the dew in the morning, the mist, adding weight to the cotton. So that was her story. And when the cotton was done, There were vegetables and fruit that needed to be done, and so on and so forth. So when she was of age, she got married like around 15 or 16 with my grandfather. They had 4 kids. And eventually they moved from Delaware to California, where there were some warehouse jobs. And then eventually she started a cleaning business. The cleaning business transpired off of one ad in the Penny Saver back in the day. Put in a Penny Saver, and she started getting phone calls to clean houses. So after that, she told her siblings about it. It became a family business. It wasn't really as sophisticated. I remember sitting down with grandma, I was like, Grandma, this can be like a whole enterprise. Like, hire more people, do this. She was like, no, no, no. This is how I know how to do it. Like she has a way of thinking. So operations, automation, writing things down, it was more feasible for her to understand and do things of that matter. But it worked for her. But in my head, I was like, let's blow this thing up.
Right.
But that's my background, and just seeing her with little education and little resources, I can't imagine how much further she would be with more resources, more education, and she stopped at 3rd grade. I'm like, you would have been bad if you would have just,
Yep.
So just seeing that just always had an edge for me. Like, look, I want more. I know I have it in me. I see my grandma doing her hustles, or even if it's Easter. I remember her making Easter baskets. She would take this thread and a balloon, thread it around, hot glue gun, and then pop the balloon, and then there's an egg. And then she would stuff it with stuffings, go to the garment district, and then stuff it with all these things. Then be on the corner, sold out. Unusual. Like she was just very like entrepreneurial and just at it. So she's of age and she's tired. She was stressed. She's a great cook. Her last entrepreneurial adventure was during COVID. She thought that she wanted a cooking business. She made her first like $800 in a week. She said, "I'm tired."
It's a lot.
Like,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it was fun, but I'm tired. But I love cooking for my family. I always wanted a restaurant. I was like, all right, Grandma. So that drive is most definitely in me, and it transpired from my other grandma and my father. May he rest in peace. He was very entrepreneurial, very go-getter-ish, and then developed me. So
nice. And one shout out to grandma, shout out to grandparents worldwide, right? And then also shout out to the evolution of generations, right? Hopefully every generation gets better and better, inheriting the genius, the wealth, the experiences from the last generation, right? So what I hope we can do is have you in the mindset of, if you were able to be back there like 60 years ago, 70 years ago with your grandma and give her specific sales tips. Be like, hey, grandma, let's just imagine back then that there was Instagram. Let's imagine there was LinkedIn, everything that we have today, and give like folks that are listening, that folks that are watching, tips that you would have loved to be able to give your grandma to increase sales and success in her business. Yeah, let's take that approach, embody that moment. Bring in all your genius, and you'll gift it to grandma.
I had that moment before I think I was at community college, and I was in business class at the time, and I had written out like a game plan on this whiteboard that's still in my room. And I wrote down the amount of money she can make, the profit margins, and the revenue if she hired and expanded. So her concern was, well, the people that I work with, they trust and know me because I'm in their home. So if I hired someone else, maybe if someone steals, maybe if someone does X, Y, and Z, I could ruin my income. So, which also transpires a lot in our business, because sometimes us being digital entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general, sometimes we're afraid to hire people because they might mess up the back end of things. And I actually had that situation with my card trip. I was like, all right, X, Y, and Z, here you go. Here's the layout, do what you need to do. It was messy. And now I'm the one that's cleaning it up, doing it, and then restructuring those things. So the advice that I would give her is take a shot, take a chance, and learn from any type of failures. You're actually failing forward, because now you know what not to do. It didn't work that way for a reason, but you know what not to do. And also believe in yourself a little bit more, give yourself grace, because just because it didn't work out the first time, it doesn't mean it's not going to transpire the second time or the third time. And also God's timing is the divine timing. So sometimes we get so antsy, like, I want it now, this deal needs to go through, and maybe God has a different way for us or a different route for us. So I'm even learning that with myself, is patience and grace. Like
Facts.
that
Yeah.
would take us a long way, and get out of our mind and say, all right, well, God, you have me here for this reason. What is it that you need for me to do? And even when things don't go my way, I'll be like, all right, God, what are you showing me? What do I need to do differently?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
got a similar story for patience, and Queen, feel free to step in whenever you want to. But we had an opportunity to possibly do an after school program, and this was like in 2021, early 2021. One of my good friends reached out and was like, "Hey, I work at this school, and they're looking for an after school program, but it's in Northern California. So you and the Queen would need to move up to Northern California, run this program, but it can pay a lot, right? It can pay anywhere from, I don't think he put any numbers. He was like, it can be a good payout for y'all. And we thought about it, and we were seriously considering it, but at the time there was a lot of COVID restrictions, so we would have to do a lot of things that we weren't trying to do at the moment in order to make it happen. We've had to move out to the Bay, expensive rent in the Bay Area. So it was like, maybe not, maybe this isn't the right time right now. But literally like 6 months later, right, someone in LA reached out with the same opportunity. It was like, hey, we're in LA, we have this need for after school program or a mentorship program. If you and the Queen are interested, y'all can do it here. And then we did the same contemplation, right? We were like, all right, well, these are the profits that we could make. This is the impact we can make. These are the requirements. LA, it's a drive. We don't need to move anywhere. You know what? Let's do it. Let's make that happen, right? So because we didn't jump at the first opportunity and move all the way to the Bay, if we would have moved to the Bay, we wouldn't have been able to do the programs that we're doing now. Now we're at 9 different schools. We've been able to scale, hire other people. But if we just had been focused on getting that first immediate sale and only it being us, yeah, we would not be anywhere near the position we're in right now.
But I think the interesting thing is, because the seed was planted, I feel like it already had the wheels turning of like, how could we turn this into a mentorship program or whatever? So that when it did come up the second time, we were kind of primed. Still didn't feel ready. Like he's definitely like the engine. So he was like, "Oh, we got it." And I'm like,
"We're doing it.
Well, we don't know what we're doing. What? We're not ready for this. But it's like, I mean, technically, this was the second time this idea had come to us, so it was the right time. Yeah, it's interesting how how the universe will work, how God will work, and just kind of bring you little hints at like, this is what's coming. Be prepared.
Yep.
This is what's coming. Make sure you're ready. And then boom, the opportunity comes. And it may not always look like the perfect opportunity, but if it checks enough of the boxes, go for it. Like you said, right? Okay, it's within driving distance. We can make it happen. We already have the curriculum. We just need to kind of maneuver it around. We've got some connections in the area. So, I mean, let's go for it, right? Like you said, the worst case scenario is you will fail forward. We will at least know what not to do.
Right.
Right. And then especially when people be coming to you with the same proposition, you're like, wait, I'm onto something, because this person told me the same thing. Divine alignment is somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not seeing it and all these strangers are seeing it, but taking key to those messages and then like reevaluating your proposition is one way of sales. It's kind of like when you have like a burger stand and everyone's asking for a certain type of a seasoning on the fry or a French fry this way. Maybe you'll increase your sales by just giving them what they want.
Listen to the people. But you mentioned proposition. Break that down for like what is a sales proposition? What is a value proposition?
Yeah, the value that you hold within your business or within your package deal. What is it that I will get out of this if I purchase with you? What is the value? What does that look like? The opportunity cost. If I invest this amount, of dollars or this amount of time, by the time I'm done, what type of value am I going to get out of that resource?
What's in it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the customers want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We always want to know, like, what is it that you can do for me? Like, and even the everyday person, if we go invest in something that's just mundane, like soap, what does this soap do for me? Oh, this clean new hair, paralyzing skin machine. Like, they have all these sophisticated wording, like all of
Yep.
this is soap. No, this isn't like any type of soap. This is gonna change your life. Like, this is life changing. And that's what marketing does. They try to make everything like spectacular and value added, and this is going to be a luscious experience, and your hair is never going to shine like this before unless you use this conditioner.
No, you got to sell it.
It's the transformation.
Yep.
Right? I feel like no matter what product or service you are offering, you have to be able to communicate what is the transformation from where I am now to where I will be after using your product or service. Whether it's some scissors or a shampoo or a 12-week financial literacy program, there's still some type of transformation that should happen. Because if I'm not changing from now to then I'm wasting my money.
Right. I'm wasting my time, my money. So what is it that you can do for me that someone else can't do? Or who are you as a person that will resonate with this individual that you're selling to that this person cannot resonate with? Like some people like the slums to million dollar brand story, and that eats people alive. Like, oh my gosh, started from the bottom, now I'm here. Especially in the Black community, it's like you earn your crown because you struggled. And I pray that changes, because we're not supposed to be struggling our life, come from slavery and still make it, and we have the resources and we're still struggling. Like, that is not the route. The route is to create, generational wealth. And like you said earlier, now I learned something that my grandparents didn't know. And then after that, my kids will learn something. And then it'll just be this whole sprout of just wealth of knowledge that will just be within the community of resources as well. So,
yeah, in my mind, I'm possibly taking this conversation in one of two directions. I'm gonna give you a choose your adventure type situation, Deja.
Right? Like a video
So
game where you're sitting there.
Right. Well, path A is like, how do you curate your story, right? Because you talked about how, unfortunately, today, especially in the Black community, we really uplift the rags to riches story. We want the underdog. We want the person that started from the bottom and they've built this amazing brand, and then we'll support that, rather than someone who maybe got investors, got a loan, inherited a family business. We're not rooting for that person, right? But either way, a story is important. So what advice do you have on either you choose path A? How do you curate your brand story to increase sales? Or path B, what are like the channels that you need to be sharing your story on? Right? Because you talked about your grandma used Penny Saver. I don't know if Penny Saver is still around today, but there's a lot of other channels that you can use to put your message in front of people on a digital Penny Saver. So yeah, those are two paths. You've picked whichever one you want.
Let's start with A, because
Okay.
I believe, so we were talking about starting from the bottom. Now we're here to conversation, right? So it's very interesting, because even on online, like the way I stay up to date is reading articles on current events and marketing trends and all those things. I don't really pay attention to one specific individual, but more so current events. So one of the things that we're spoken of is the story of starting from the bottom. Now we're here. We're tired of it with scholarship opportunities. So usually in scholarship opportunities with schools, they'll be like, well, what is your struggle? How bad do you need it? What is it that you need to do to gain this woe it's me story, and then turn it into something beautiful, when sometimes it's not always that story. Like, it's okay to not say like you struggle to get where you're at, but it is okay to tell your story and be truthful in all of its respects that you have to speak of it. So it really just depends on what avenue you want to go. But whatever you do, make it sincere and truthful and with your heart, because your audience is going to pick up on the fluff. They're going to do their research. They can be like, you posted that post like 6 years ago. You wasn't struggling. Like, you was in a Mercedes Benz 6 years ago. I don't know what you talking about. But being true and sincere is going to take you the furthest, regardless of how you were positioned in your life. It's not our fault that we struggled or even were inherited into money. It's how you position yourself. The way that life is the reaction of when life happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
So if life happens to me a certain way and the way I react turned out for my good, then that's just my story. There isn't no true, this is the story that you need to create. No, just be sincere and be in alignment with the audience that you want, because we don't like fluff. You don't like fluff, but resonate with your audience. So if you know that they're into a certain particular type of I don't know, opportunity that you have, you can increase your brand story and make it awareness by adding in your value proposition with your story. It was me. I struggled. I didn't know what to do. I had no marketing strategy. I figured out a marketing strategy, and now that results, I created 6 figures, and now I'm here today. Okay, that's sincere. The alignment.
Now, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It's all about the alignment.
So there's some people who don't like even sharing their personal story, right? So if we have a person who's a business owner, maybe they're a franchise owner, or they've created a product, they do drop shipping, and they're really not trying to connect their personal story to the brand. Is there power in curating a brand story that can still increase sales, or in your opinion, do you need a personal connection?
You don't have to have a personal connection. I call this the silent brand. So people who are drop shippers and they do not want to be attached in any way, shape, or form. They don't want their face. They don't want the name. They using like @support.com. Like, I'm not here. It's the nickname I named it. Silent brand. You don't have to be attached to your business. It's kind of like how Nike, they have this whole brand, but the CEO is not constantly in your face. The Nike brand, if you pay attention to the ads, there's a story of woe is me, triumph, and victory. So usually how it's laid out is someone's working out, usually sweating, you can picture them
got the glisten.
And they boxing or doing whatever, and then they're like, oh, Nike wear, this is where you need wear. Like this is what makes you win, glorious. But those are the subtle hints that Nike adds in their marketing campaigns. And then if you pay attention to a lot of the brands who are not face forward, they'll have the story behind and other elements.
Okay, I rock with that. Queen, you got something? I know I've been just shooting questions left and right. My bad.
I just thought of Geico. How they have the gecko. I mean, I'm sure there's a voice behind the gecko, but it's like it has a whole personality. It has a whole story. We're connected to the gecko. Like if something happened to the gecko, I'd feel some type of way.
I statements.
You don't care about the gecko?
I don't have Geico, so no, I don't care about the gecko.
Does it? Anyways, but I just feel like they still have been able to curate some type of story and emotional connection, comedy, whatever, even though we have no idea I don't know who the CEO of Geico is. Like they never have like a person that's standing in front of their brand saying like, yeah, go Geico. It's always the gecko. So I feel like there's definitely a way. I don't know if that would be considered like Avatar or something, but like to still, I think, create a narrative if you yourself don't want to be that person, which I think is a common thing found especially in the Black community, because I feel like there are those brands who want to be very pro-Black. I'm a Black owned. I want you to know I'm Black owned, and I want you to support for that reason. I feel like there are others who are like, I want this business to go worldwide, and I don't want it to be connected to any type of political, racial, anything, right? So, but I feel like there's still a way to tell a story, even in that scenario.
You gave me the idea of a Carol's daughter. Are you familiar with them? They're a hair care line for African American natural hair girls, right? The initial creator was Black. She sold it to a Caucasian woman. The Caucasian woman is not facing forward. The people that are hired and advertised are Black people because they're speaking to other Black women. So that's another example of a brand that's like, she's way in the back, but she's not in the forefront. She's letting the business play its forefront. And we're going to hire some people in place so our audience can identify with the items that are being sold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Audience
most
identification.
I feel like most popular hair care brands in the Black community are not owned by Black people. You would never know because they have good marketing.
Yeah, or
Mm-hmm.
at one point they were owned and
Yeah.
then they got acquired, but it was like all right, well,
Yeah.
smooth transition and
Right.
keep
Nothing
on purchasing.
changes.
Yes,
Yeah.
nothing. But so far we have making sure your value propositions are very clear and you know your value propositions as a tip or strategy. Number
Mm-hmm.
2, we have getting your audience, like, be very clear of who you're talking to, who your audience is. Number
Mm-hmm.
3, you talked about your either personal story or your brand story and know which elements are speaking to your story and that will connect specifically to your audience to encourage them to buy. All right, so right now we're working with like nice 3 elements. Hope you are listening, taking notes. Right, I'm a scholar, so I got my mental notes going. If anyone's watching live, feel free to put your questions inside the comments. We got Deja Easter here, the expert in strategy and social media marketing. But what are some other tips, strategies you got for us?
Yeah. So I'll give you another example of audience identification. So based on my personal story, so before I met Sinclair at the high school that we went to, I was in another school district. I was in Alvord Unified School District. I was supposed to go to Norte Vista High School. That school actually has a daycare center on campus. Mother, mother did not want me going to that not a daycare, the high school, because the population rate of young girls getting pregnant were substantial enough for the high school to create a daycare center. So when it comes to audience identification, knowing who it is that you're serving, so in the public eye, you don't have excuses to not show up to class. Bring your kid, your baby, drop them off at daycare, and come get this education, GED. Do what you need to do, and it was just so interesting because the people that we connected with at middle school, they're like, "Oh, you bougie now because you go into the because our school is predominantly white. I was supposed to go to a predominantly Mexican school. Oh, you think you're good because you on the other side of the tracks and all that. I was like, look, audience identification, okay?
Yeah.
So that I'm sure their data proved that maybe if we did have a daycare center, the ratio would increase of grads because now there are no excuses or maybe a lot of dynamics change. So audience identification can change a whole lot in your business if you take heed to it.
Oh yeah, and also shows like what extra services are you providing to your specific audience, right? Because the main service for the school was the education. They saw
Mm-hmm.
that the having kids might be a barrier to their primary customers to enrolling, so they added an additional service to help in their primary service.
Look at that. Customer objections. That's what they
Mm,
just did.
mm,
When there's an objection in the way, you're making a sales. I can't go to school because I got kids. Okay, well, the objection is you can't go to school because you have kids. But our rebuttal is we're going to have a daycare center there. So whenever you're making a sales and someone's like, "Ooh, but I don't have $100." Okay, well, there's a payment plan, $25 a month. Can we do that? Okay,
uh,
let's do that. Getting over the mindset of I can't do it, but yes, you can. So you see there's like this 3 lane, and I teach this in the Unstuck playbook. So there's 3 lanes. There's the person who is ready to buy from you, right? They're like, yes, I want that offer right now. Then there's the second lane where they're like, I'm ready, but I'm like tiptoeing back and forth. And then there's the third lane where they're just slow, like, I'll get to it when I can. So the way that we speed up each of these lanes is you have the customer objection conversation with them. The person who's ready to buy from you right now, they don't need much convincing. All they need is the checkout link, and please make sure that it's working and all the buttons are knickknacking and they don't have to DM you for the checkout button. The person in the middle, they need a little bit convincing. They're like, I want it, but I'm gonna do it next week. Well, then you market to them like, okay, I know that you want to do it next week, but here's why you need it today. Because next week the price is going to increase. Next week, inflation's going to happen. Next week, the economy's going to drop. Next week, you got all these things like, no, today. And the person in the last lane is like, I'm here, but I don't know where my pain points are. So I don't need it. And I'm like here, like saying, no, you need it. And I'm going to tell you why you need my service. You need it because you're stuck. You need it because you don't know how to understand your processes. You need it because you don't have a strategy. You need it because you have a business and you don't know how to make sales. And you need it because this sale is ending today. So all three of those people in those lanes is how you go with identifying how to talk to the objection of the customers.
That's really good. What are tools you use to segment your customers into those three, so that when you send your DM, your email, your automated phone calls, whatever it is, you can make sure that those three different segments are getting three differently worded emails?
And remember, I told you in the beginning, I hired someone. They didn't do the job right.
That's what they
That's
messed
what
up
they messed
right
up.
here.
They supposed to do right. So I had to spend my time, because the goal was to be done, launched, and done all the automation, all those things by beginning of this month. But now I'm taking the lead in debunking it. And I also took the lead on hiring a operational Kartra expert to expedite the experience for me. So now I could lay the foundation and then have people plugged in on certain aspects. Because what I don't want to happen is to have someone mess up something so bad I don't know what to do. Or look,
that's one of my fears of hiring somebody, is like, especially like for Shopify, hiring one of the Shopify experts to come in and do a nice custom template and all that stuff. So I'm like, what if they do all that, they add the custom code, and now I don't know how to add a new product, or I don't know how to send an email. Everything's broken.
Right. So I was like, I gotta make sure I know what I'm doing. Y'all froze for a little bit. I gotta make sure that I know what I'm doing, so at least I can guide people in the right direction and make sure when you do have your access, I'm turning off all the other things and you need to focus on this thing. Okay. Because what I don't want to happen is this person puts in my stuff and then they leave and then I'm like, well, how do I update this? And I've seen it happen on my end when I've done services for other people. And I was trying to help people, like, look, this is how you do it. And then I'm gone. They're like, you're leaving? I said, yeah, we're done. I'm just done. I don't know what to do. I said, I have videos. I was trying to talk to you about it. Woof, done. I ain't seen that person relaunch since. So, and that's sometimes the bottleneck for some people, is the automation part and understanding the processes. So on my end, what the goal is so I have my email list at the bottom, subscribers, right? That's the main thing. And so there will be tips, anything. It'll be called the house list. So this is all be all. This is where you're going to get the insight from. From that house list, I'll send out emails with sales, tips, updates, and have tags connected to each. So depending on what you're clicking on, the system will tag it. Depending on the tags, then you'll get a certain email. And then also you'll get an update saying, hey, you're part of this this campaign. You can opt out of this campaign instead of opting out of my entire subscription, because you might enjoy the marketing insight tips or the coupon codes and all those things. So segmenting it based off of my sales journey, the brand awareness journey, and also just the random tips and bits.
Nice. And I will say, like, we use Shopify for Black Wall Street, the board game. They're not a sponsor, but if you know a person, hey, come holla at us. And inside of Shopify, you can also add tags and send emails. So we'd have like tags based on who's in Atlanta, who's in New York, who's in California, so we can send specific things to them. We have tags on repeat customers, first time customers, people who bought Masterpiece, people who bought the second edition, people who bought the Black History Adventures of Rose and Rodney. So if we have another book or another movie screening, we know specifically, let's hit up these people. So Shopify is a really great tool. And then MailChimp. Queen, you want to talk about MailChimp?
Yeah, MailChimp has the same feature where, depending on how this customer found you, or depending on what they clicked on, you can have it automated, or you can go in manually and basically add them to which group are they. They're a part of this group. They should receive the recipes. This group should receive the workouts. This group should receive everything. These people are ready to buy. These people are cold, and you can really just put in whatever tags you want and figure out which emails need to go to which people. Because to your point, like if someone's ready to buy, you're going to speak to them differently than someone who's like, no, I don't need your service right now, or someone who needs a little bit of priming. So I think that's how you make sure you're getting the right message to the right person.
Because they ain't nothing more annoying than knowing that you know where you're at in your sales journey when you're looking at someone else's product and they send you the wrong email. Like, look, I know, I just bought from you. Like, I don't.
That is actually annoying. I'll be unsubscribing. I bought. Don't. You left something in your car. No, I didn't. I bought it. Get off my list.
Get off my line. That was not the intended commercial break. I'll let you know that right now. But well, that will go ahead and serve as the commercial break for our live folks, because definitely don't want y'all to go through another pause. But Deja, if you're ready and able, what we want to go through is if you're like what's the sales process? Whether it's an email for a service, email for a product, or maybe it's a phone call. Is there a particular process or series of events that you feel like should happen that will end successfully with you getting that sale?
Yes. The most successful route is giving information that people want for free, like this is free information. We're giving out free information. And then having an email sequence to follow up with. So for example, actually you had this earlier. This came in the mail. It's for undergarments. And if you see down below, there's a little scan code right here. And it says, find your best style. Try the fit quiz. Now we know once you get my email, it's on cracking. So
and it's gonna be like you could do the whole quiz, and then they got you invested, and then just before you see your results, they'll be like, "We just need your email,
social security number, credit card number,
and your firstborn."
Right? Gosh, I've been doing this for 5 hours. Now you ask me
a blood sacrifice, everything else. So it's funny because we've all been there where there's something free that we're like, "Ooh, okay, I do want to take that quiz," and they take your information and they're like, "Oh, we have this new offer for this new brassiere, and we know you like it." Because the thing about a quiz is that there's so much details and information that they will get from you to the point where they feel like you're going to feel like they're talking to you. Like they know your pain points. It's going to be weeks, months later, and you'll be like, how do you know I like that type of undergarment? I forgot I told them that. How do you know I like this? And you're like, ooh, I feel like they know me. And that's how marketing works. We could get on our phone and we see ads like, oh, this is very personal. Well, because you said accept the cookies years ago, and now the cookies, the data is collecting.
The cookies are back.
The cookies are back, like the Cookie Monster. So it was not by accident that we're clicking on all these things, and we feel like compelled that this marketing person is talking to me like oh my gosh, they know they're listening to me. Well, they are.
You have a story, Sinclair?
I don't know that it's one that I'm going to tell on here, but I thought of something. Okay, so there's this all of the ads I'm seeing now. So I just before our trip, the month-long trip we just took, I prepared getting a whole bunch of shapewear because I'm like, look, we about to be going. I don't know, I like to work out regularly. It did not happen. I'm telling you now, it did not happen. So I'm like, I just want to be able to know that I'm going to be able to wear these clothes that I'm packing with confidence throughout the trip. It's a month. Things can happen. So I'm like, I need this shapewear to just keep it consistent. So yeah, I was researching a lot of shapewear.
Nothing but shapewear ads.
Yeah, okay. Shapewear, but also what's interesting though. So when I was scrolling on Instagram like yesterday, I saw one and it was shapewear. It was a woman wearing shapewear and it said "sweaty butt?" ? And I was like, interesting. I don't think I've ever looked up anything regarding this, but but it's an indirect, right? Because you're shopping for shapewear, right? Because you're shopping for shapewear of this size, you probably also have this issue of sweat in between your inner thighs or chafing in between your inner thighs, right? So it's like they're really doing their research, because I was like, not necessarily sweaty butt. That's not what I'm worried about. But then I kept reading and it was like, oh, avoid the chafing of the thighs. And I'm like, look, that be happening like a mug. So it's like they really do their research. And, you know, even though it wasn't even in the same company, but somehow they were able to get to one of my pain points. It was really interesting.
Yeah. I call that the gas station effect. I'll be making up these old little names. So when we go to the gas station, we go to the gas station. We're there for gas. But once we get in, like if we got to go inside to pay, we picking up chips, sodas, pops, doing a lotto ticket. Everybody talking about I won $1 million at the gas station lottery. Now you compelled to go to the lottery. We're there for gas, okay?
Yeah.
We're not there to. That's not the shopping center. So now that you looking for undergarments, they're like, okay, you need like a, you know, you need to do something else. You want booty lift? You want right? Like what else are you interested in? Because obviously you care about your figure. So now we're going to push the limit and show you some more stuff. So when people are doing the sales process and the fact that you're Googling all these things, now it's on the cookies, and now you're the avatar that they're looking to target, and you go in their back-end database as this person who is this shape, this size, click on this, who loves shapewear, probably a vegan, loves to work out, because if you like shapewear, you're concerned about your shape or some form. So you might be seeing like athletic things or yoga pants or something like that. You saw yoga pants?
You're gonna see
with
all the pockets and the this one fits here, and it's they know what they're doing.
You clicked on it, didn't you?
Not
yet.
Right, not yet. I scope it out a couple of times before I click it.
I sometimes intentionally will just scroll just to see what I'm looking for, and I will purposely want my phone to be around. And that's actually how I found like that investment course that I was talking to you about, because I spoke it into the atmosphere and I knew my phone was on here. And sometimes I will purposely scroll on YouTube, Facebook, and like, who's marketing today? Like, what's out there? Oh, that's in alignment with me. So the process is get people to click, get them here. This is the intake process. And you see how it's 2023. There's a chocolate chick, afro, a very skinny person, someone who has a little bit more meat on their bones, someone who's not.
They got everybody covered.
Everybody.
Because back in the day, they weren't, until Rihanna came out and tore up all of that stuff and put everybody out there and gave everybody their own skin tone. So now they have to compete for the audience that Rihanna now has, and she's murdering the game. So, because at some point the CEO was like, no, this is not what we're going to do with our brand. And then they folded because they're like, all right, we're missing out on money. That's why they don't have the angel girls, the little skinny chicks with the wings walking on one. No, I don't want to see that. Okay. Like, I can't relate to a bunch like 20 plus chicks that are size 0. Like, that's not realistic. Some of them don't even like to eat. Like, I like to eat. You know, like, I can't relate.
We cannot be friends if you don't like to eat.
So the sales process, if you could get someone to opt in for like a quiz or a free trial or whatever it is, a 10, 15-day free trial, and then the more information you can gather, you can send the email updates or a phone call update. Hey, how was your free trial? Did you like that? Oh, you didn't? What can we do better? Okay, well, by the way, we're having an offer, and because of your experience, we want to make it right. Okay, so let's do X, Y, and Z. Like, oh, okay. It was that easy. It was a phone call. Sometimes it is, or an email, because now we understand the pain points. We understand what they love, like, desire, don't want, all those things. Did that make sense? I know we went on a long.
No, this is good. We did go on a little bit of a side note, but that's what makes these episodes these are good episodes, Deja. We just comfortable. It's a nice conversation, but I think I'm in the mode right now where Play Black Wall Street is getting a good, consistent sales, but we need to now increase our sales in the M4 show, right? So I'm looking at, okay, well, how can we do a freebie for M4 to collect information, to get people opt in? What type of free trial can we do for the M4 community? That's exactly what I was about to say. What kind of free trial? Look, it was about to be bad. I got a speech impediment, Sinclair. Don't make fun of me. But yeah, what kind of free trial? Whew, almost again. Almost again. I'm not gonna front with you.
Grandma cannot say aluminum for nothing. So
Aluminum.
she like aluminum.
Aluminium. But yeah, this is good stuff. So after we do a freebie, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the vital next step? I think you said like the follow up is the vital next step, whether it's a call, email, that
It depends
trial ending.
the price point. What is your price? The
There we
higher
go.
price, the more you have to nudge, and the more personal things should be. So if I know that I'm about to close on a deal that's worth several figures, we might have to do a couple phone calls, a video chat. The email might just be like, hey, you're interested. Well, let's sign up to X, Y, and Z. Because now I want you to spend more than just $100 with me. I want you to spend like probably your savings.
Yep.
So what is your offer for the M4 show?
So we're looking at doing $200 per month. So it's going to be a subscription-based model. And then as a part of the membership, you get access to obviously the podcast, but then also additional bonus episodes. You get access to in-person events in our master classes. And then the type of events that you went to where we travel somewhere. We're in Lake Tahoe, we're in Aspen, we're in Jamaica, we're in Colombia doing a master class, doing goal setting. You'll get invited to that as well.
And merch.
And oh yeah, of course swag. Of course there's gonna be swag up in there too. But yeah, right now we're looking at 200. A lot of people say we should do more. How much were the folks that we met? We met in Cape Town. They had a social club. I feel like they said like 400 a month is what they do.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but long story short, we like to be affordable, so we're thinking of starting off 200. Maybe there'll be a tiered level where 200 is the basic entry, and then 400 or 450 is the elevated one.
I was they also had a physical space. So
They
keep
did
that
have
in
a
mind. So
physical
they have
space.
overhead. We don't have any overhead. So things to keep in mind. But yeah, that's kind of what we want to elevate to. But yeah, we're stuck in the freebie stage right now.
Yeah, we're giving out all this free, but we're in the freebie stage, but we're not collecting information. We did I think a great series where we did the Melanated Married Millionaires challenge, where that was a
$1 million marriage challenge.
Thank you. $1 million marriage challenge. That was a free challenge or a pay what you want. You can donate. But I didn't do a good job at collecting a lot of information in the registration form because we wanted it to be frictionless, right? Just click registration, donate what you want, or donate $0, and you're in. I think the next either free event or free resource that we do, we need to make sure we collect information. Are you married? Where do you live? What's your income? What is your pathway to $1 million? Is it real estate? Is it entrepreneurship? That way we know what type of maybe classes they need specifically for their pathway. Right. That's what I'm thinking. But we got the expert here. Coach us. What are we doing?
Whenever there's anything you're giving out for free, especially free, collect data. So it's nothing to ask for an email, get a free training, right? Sometimes when you ask for email and phone number, it could sway people away. But also what you're doing is vetting them better. Because obviously if you put your phone number and your cell phone number, you really want the service. And you want serious people who are serious about their marriage and also serious about investing. If you want to increase the pricing to where you can have an entry for 200 and then have a tiered effect. So if you do like an annual VIP master class where people are spending more quality personal time with the two of you, you can always increase it and also highlight the transformational processes or the journeys through, other interviews or conversation pieces. I'll give you reviews.
Thank you.
Like even the simple conversation piece that we have, it's like, oh, you know what? That is true. I think you're like, just ask the question. I was like, you're right. Because I could be super blunt at times with certain things with them. Like, am I being too blunt? Like, am I hurting someone's feelings? But it's just always good to have another person to talk to outside of my own head. And so that was a good conversation piece, small but mighty. And so sometimes you just have to do the small but mighty things.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need.
I feel like
Go ahead, Queen.
I feel like another mistake we made with the challenge is we had too many steps to it.
Yeah.
So there was like the Google form, which I thought, so we didn't connect. I thought we did collect people because we had a Google form first.
Yeah. We did get a lot of people in the pre-sale stage.
Right.
We had people sign up, including you. You signed up and you got on the list. You got on the wait list.
But
I
then
didn't know
when we sent, but then when we sent out so the approach was, let's get folks on a wait list first, and then we will email out the Eventbrite link and have folks sign out. We lost everybody there. So we had quite a few people on the wait list, but when we sent out the Eventbrite, only a fraction of people actually actually signed up. And I noticed the same thing when I used to do the same thing for health coaching and even potluck. Like that seems to be a common theme. Like have it be one step where you put your information and now you're signed up. I feel like it may have been another like Dame Dash situation, because I feel like you listen to a lot of people and you take a lot of advice from people who already have big audiences. So they probably can do a wait list and fill it up, and then people are literally waiting for that email. But I feel like for me, in the building stage, you got to just make it as frictionless as possible, because if they don't already know your value, they're not going to be waiting around for that Eventbrite or for that thing. And so you may lose some people.
The operational back end could have been smoother. So when I didn't know what I was doing, I clicked on it and I was just going through, but I got lost somewhere. Like things weren't clicking for me. So if there was a setup where it was a simplistic landing page, this is what you're going to get out of it, the transformation outcome, email, phone number, if that's what you need, that's that. Only one time ask for information. Now, if you have a waiting list, allow them to stay there, and then when you shoot off your email sequences, then that's the time the program begins, the challenge begins. So for us, the consumer who finds interest in you, all we're doing is giving you the email, and now we're waiting for you to email us with the challenge. The challenge can also be automated on your end by sending it one email a day. Today's challenge number 1, today's challenge number 2, and you can pre-record the content. So this is now turning into an evergreen lead generation process, pre-recorded, and by X, Y, and Z, you're checking in. So say the challenge is 3 or 5 days. By day 3 or 5, you can do an email sequence, check in with them. You can even make it personal, get on a phone call, so you can get a review immediately. When you personalize the situation, get the review as soon as possible when people are at the heightened sense. I love the challenge. It was da-da-da. And ask them, hey, before we move forward, can we screen record so I could get your review? Yeah. So how was it? And then they just gonna rant all about it because it was free, it was transformational, and all those things. I did that with you, Sinclair, before. It's like, okay, how'd you like the service? I'm gonna record you. Is that okay? And I recorded it. You're like, oh, right now? I was like, yep, we gonna do it right now.
Sure.
So making it as easy and frictionless as possible on our end is going to yield you with better results, because now we don't have to do as much as the person who wants to actually use your service. So if you have a simple landing page, MailChimp does that too, where you can have a landing page and have your offering that's very clear, concise. You can even invest in a copywriter. The copywriter is basically the marketing verbiage that gets people to the sale or to click the button, because copy is different than just putting verbiage on a screen. Copy has the intent to get your leads or to get the sale, to get you to the sale. And so that's the marketing verbiage. Invest in a copywriter, put that on a landing page for MailChimp, and then have people filter through that. Now these people are going to be going to your MailChimp tagged as leads for the M4. Once they're tagged as leads as M4, create your email sequence. However long the challenge is, send out one challenge a day. Then by the end of the challenge, do a wrap up. How did you like it? Can we get on a call? Video chat. Screen record the reviews. Use those reviews as testimonials to put on your actual sales page. Okay? So when we do the whole trial, we're done here. We got the testimonials. Those testimonials, now we're going to do an actual real launch to make sales. Do that. Put that on your sales page. Do it all again. Sales email sequence, for the actual sale.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole different process. But now we're just doing a lead gen. Is that clear?
It was clear. I got my notes. Like, I'm serious. I don't know what y'all do when you listen to this podcast, but I take notes.
So, it's recorded, right? So we could also go back.
Are we really gonna do that though, Sinclair?
Right.
Are we really gonna do that? Let's
right.
be real.
You're right. You're right.
Be real.
See, look at him. He's like, "Are we really gonna do that?" See, when you ask people for testimonials, they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that later," and you gotta hunt people down for that testimonial.
That's a fact. That's a fact,
bro. You you eat it right now? Can you do that testimonial? Yeah, I got you, bro.
Nope. But that was really good, and I like the idea of automating the challenge, creating the MailChimp page, which we haven't used MailChimp in that way too many times. I feel like we made maybe one MailChimp page, but there's a lot of extra stuff we can be doing with MailChimp. So I like that. The pre-recorded videos, kind of like what we do with the Lit program, to where it's like just record our 4-minute, 5-minute videos, give them a call to action, can still push people to a Facebook community where they can continue to engage. And then maybe at the end of the week or end of the month, we have a video with everyone who's done the challenge that's live. But I think it makes it more accessible for people and like they can quickly get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I like. So yeah, that was good. So y'all might see this was not the intention of today's podcast, but y'all might see a new challenge come out soon from the M4 community.
Right.
Because we do go ahead, Deja.
Create urgency. So if you have the 3 or 5 email sequences, you can put your video on a like MP4 file or whatever that expires like a week or 2 later. So by the following week, you could do a roundup email. This is the last week to go through the challenge. It expires, create urgency. So now that you have a ending launch date for your free trial, so now that you can collect your testimonials in time to do your actual sales launch to get you to the cha-ching, the cash.
Mm-hmm. Greatness, because we need to make M4 more profitable so we can do more stuff for y'all. Right? We want a podcast studio. We want to hire more staff. We want an actual space where people can come, meet, greet, eat delicious food, and we gotta be profitable to do all that stuff.
One more thing, if you have, I know MailChimp has a landing page and all those things, but if you're doing multiple launches, when you expand for the operational back end, it's going to be in your best or better interest to stick with a foundational platform. So for example, I use Kartra. Kartra has multiple landing pages, URL links, it connects to the email sequences, is all those things, and it's a little bit more robust than MailChimp. But eventually the goal is to grow and move out of MailChimp. But you can start there. But the bigger vision might push you out of MailChimp, is what I'm saying, for the future.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we're all good at getting pushed out as long as the profits and sales are doing the pushing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this has been dope. Hopefully folks have gotten as much value as we've personally gotten out of this episode. As we've already said before, Deja, you're welcome back anytime. Anytime you got some more sauce, wisdom, brilliance, definitely come through. We haven't done an Ask the Claire yet, and I know you were already asking about our vacation. So we're gonna do an Ask the Claire. Well, I know exactly what the question's gonna be, but for the sake of rhythm of the podcast, we are now entering into the Ask the Claire segment. Queen Deja, yes, your question.
All right. So how was Africa? What were the highs? What were the lows? What was the transformational journey that you had an aha moment that resonated with you? When you got back to the States, what was it that you reflected on the most that was like, wow, I actually embodied that experience? That was a lot of questions, but I was like all meditating on it. I was like, how was that? Because I feel like I need to go one day.
You definitely need to go one day. That's a fact.
Yep.
Queen, break it down.
Oh, me?
It's your first time to the continent.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the trip overall was amazing. And I think going to Africa was, I think the biggest way I can describe it, it was humbling. To see like the touristy parts of Africa are great, right? You get to go to these, especially in Zanzibar, got to go to these beautiful beaches. and just really, nice restaurants and things like that. But I think the humbling part was as soon as you leave the resort. So it's a little bit different than like Mexico, like Cancun or something like that, where you just have a row of resorts and it's just resort land, it's tourist land, right? Everybody there is catering to the tourists. Whereas when we, at least the part that we were in Zanzibar, was like a very small boutique hotel. There were a couple other small boutique hotels around. As soon as you go off of the boutique, though, you're in the village. You're with the locals.
Yeah.
Literally, we're walking past, driving past the locals on our way out every time we would leave. And so that part is an interesting thing to experience. You have the like it makes you feel grateful for what you have, but also interesting to just see how other people live, and that's their normal life. And just seeing that, and there was just so many things that were different and not what I was expecting. Yeah, I feel like I went into a whole deep dive on one of the other podcasts on like it wasn't quite the transformation I was expecting, but it was still an amazing experience, and I loved Africa and would definitely go back to. I definitely want to go to Ghana. I feel like that would just be a very different experience. But yeah,
Ashe.
huh?
Is it Ashe?
Ashe. But overall, like, so again, in Zanzibar, you go outside and it was actually a really cool type of village because it was a beach vibe. And even the specific village that we were in called Jambiani, they were just, the locals were nice. It's just kind of a really laid back feel, which I think we enjoyed. But like go to Cape Town, completely different vibe from Zanzibar. And it almost like you don't know that you're in Africa when you're in Cape Town. It just looks like a beautiful city. You could be in California for all you know. And so it was very beautiful, but to learn kind of some of the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but there's a lot of racial and classism, I guess, amongst in Cape Town that you don't see, and that's purposeful. It's kind of like they have townships, or what they're called, and that is where like a lot of the local South Africans, Black South Africans, live, and they are really confined to this area. They don't make enough to come out of to live anywhere else in the city. And all of the other, like a lot of the Europeans who live in Cape Town, they don't go to the townships. And so it's very, very segregated there, which obviously gives you mixed feelings as a tourist coming there. It is just very interesting to experience that and to talk to the locals, right? We went on a food tour with Coffee, who lives in the township, and just hearing his experience and what he's doing for his township, and how he's going about his business and wanting to give back and really show the real life that they live in the townships was just amazing. But yeah, it was an amazing experience, a humbling experience, and I came back just like feeling very thankful, feeling very excited to go back and experience more, because I feel like everybody thinks that like you go to Africa and it's just like it's a monolithic type of experience. It really depends on where you go. It depends on your experience there. Yeah, so without going into a whole 20-minute tangent, I'll leave it there.
Boom. Yeah. you have a follow-up for the queen or for me? Because she did a beautiful, I think, overarching experience. But if you have a follow-up, let us know.
What was your favorite dish that you had there?
In Africa specifically?
Yeah. Or were you able to identify a favorite dish?
Man. So we went to this place, and I'm forgetting.
Gold.
Yeah, Gold. Where we had how many courses? 8 course?
It might have been like 10.
We had a 10-course meal. Each dish was from a different African nation. Hold
That Moroccan couscous and vegetables was delicious.
That was delicious.
And that's not something I would ever even order. I'd be like, sounds boring. It was actually very delicious. It was literally just like roasted vegetables with some couscous, and very lightly like seasoned, but it was just the natural flavors of the vegetables. It's just that the roasting process, whatever they did to it, really brought out those natural flavors, and it was delicious.
Could it be us American food is not as well, their food isn't as tainted as the American food, probably. Yeah.
For sure, no.
Yeah.
Another one of our favorite meals in the entire trip, and it was African inspired. So we went to Palenque in Colombia, which is the first freed Black town in the Americas. And they keep a lot of their African culture. But they made us some fresh coconut rice, some patacones, it was kind of like plantains, unripe, and some fried mojara that was dipped and sauced in fresh made coconut curry. Delicious.
It was delicious.
Delicious. I think that was probably top 3 meals of the entire trip. Just because of the story behind it, the experience behind it. We got to actually see and watch the cooking process.
We ate it on a plantain leaf. We were, welcome into one of the locals' home, Victor, who gave us the tour. So it was just like a really homey vibe, and it just felt like a good experience. So that was probably my favorite meal, favorite experience. We also did a Michelin star restaurant experience in Portugal, where it was. Oh, see, I thought she was just asking about Africa.
She was just talking about Africa, but I'm giving her a little extra, little extra sauce, little extra context. But we did a 12 moments or 12 course Michelin star restaurant in Portugal. That was really good.
Aside from the frozen broccoli situation.
There was. It wasn't frozen broccoli like what y'all are thinking in the store, but it was like some broccoli tartare ice thing where it was like, this is not it, y'all. I don't know what
it was experimental.
I don't know what y'all.
We just aren't the audience.
This
I like my broccoli hot.
I like it hot. So but that was just a great experience. My first Michelin star restaurant experience, the Queen's first. We got to take a picture with the chef afterwards. We also got there early, so we had got the chef's table. So it was this cool experience to be this young Black melanated married couple sitting at the chef's table in a Michelin star restaurant in Portugal, being treated like royalty. Was just a good experience for us, and we can't go back. So we need to keep having Michelin star type of experiences now.
Part of me was worried. I'm like, hopefully they actually like treat us how you're supposed to treat us at the chef table, they don't try to like, undercut us or like, are they even be able to pay the bill? Like, I was like, please don't let that happen here. But no, they were. Shout out to Kura.
Yeah, good stuff. We also did the wine pairing for the Michelin star restaurant, which is a little bit extra, but they kept pouring that wine. Right, every like maybe 3 courses came with a different bottle, and if the wine was gone, they would come back, and if you were still in those 3 courses, they would pour it again. So after a while, I caught on to that. So I was like, well, why am I saving this? Like, let's throw it back. What are we doing? But yeah, we're really good experience, good exposure to that type of lifestyle. So highly encourage it. We did it in Portugal because it was more affordable than if we did it in LA or in San Francisco. So if you're doing a trip abroad, Europe somewhere, look up some Michelin star restaurants so that you can get that experience, Queen Deja.
I'm here for it. Thank you for that. I was like picturing myself with the little green leaf and the rice. I was right there with y'all. Y'all just didn't see me.
In spirit. But yeah, we appreciate you in spirit of freebies. We actually have like one of those free vacation things we got to go to. They got us. They're like, we'll give you a free trip if you come to an hour-long seminar and give us all this information. Yeah, they got us. We want the free trip. I'm not gonna front.
We ain't buying whatever they selling.
We're not buying it. No.
We'll be in there like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's for dinner, Sinclair? But if you can please go ahead and as you always do, end with please giving them your contact information, website, IG, anywhere that they can continue to get information from you, but also some wisdom on sales, right? We talked about a lot of really good stuff here. If there is one actionable step you want to make sure people leave with, what would it be?
The step, well, I always say sell with intent, market with intent. The marketing should be intentional. So you have to market with the intent to sell. Even if you're starting off with something free, you know the intent will turn into a sale. And also be in alignment with being yourself and truthful, because people can identify, fluff.
Mm.
And also my website, DejaEaster.com. You'll be hearing from me once I clean up my back end operational stuff on my own. So just look out for all that, and I'll send you some updates and details and all those fun things.
I had to let that team member go. They wasn't cutting it. I got to do stuff myself. Cool.
Hire and fire accordingly. I mean, eventually things will be running without me doing so much, but in the beginning, we just put in the legwork and then allow others to do what they need to do on the back end.
Yes, ma'am. Always appreciate you, sis. As usual, make sure y'all like and subscribe to support the growth of the M4 show. And y'all are doing it. The show is slowly but surely gaining more and more followers on YouTube, more and more listeners on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you. Just to help out for free, go ahead and click like, follow, and subscribe. And thank y'all for tapping into the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the health nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Peace. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.